My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So whether you're a parks professional or a Florida first-timer, this is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans to share memories of their magical times, answering your Walt Disney World questions, getting you all the latest news from the parks, and finding out what's happening right now in Orlando. So get your ears on as we take you to the most magical place on earth. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network, here with brand new episodes every other week. Hopefully you have subscribed and we will magically appear in, well, wherever you get your podcasts from. Big episode again this week. We will be talking about the changes to DAS Pass. Also, the bookings for next year with the free dining are now on sale. You can see the prices. The last couple of weeks, I've been doing a little bit of undercover digging and a little bit of research, so I will tell you what I have found about free dining. Is there any such thing as free dining? Well, we'll tell you in the news section later on. Make sure you're following us on the socials. We are at PodMagical. Oh, especially because next week I'm going to go to Walt Disney World. Yeah, I have got 2 weeks in the bubble. I haven't been to do it like a proper 2-week Disney holiday since the pandemic. People say, oh, you must be there all the time. For a proper 2-week fortnight holiday at Disney World. I've not done it for years. So that's where I'm going next weekend. I'm going to try, he says, to do like a little update every day, particularly on Instagram. So make sure you're following us on Instagram, and I'll try and do like a daily trip report. I will try. No promises. At PodMagical is where we are across all the socials, whether it be in TikTok or Instagram or X or Facebook. Give us a like, give us a follow on there. And if you have any planning questions, please send them over. Lynn has sent me a great question. I saw this week and I thought, I see if I can answer that one. Lynn wants to know, what is the best way to interact with characters? I always find it a bit awkward. Have you got any tips? I love interacting with characters. I love Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy characters. When it comes to meeting the princesses, I find it a bit awkward. If they can talk to me, I find that awkward because I feel like they're a bit scripty. Like they'll come over, like Cinderella will come over and she'll start talking about her sisters or Prince Charming or something like that, and she kind of already knows what she's going to say. There never feels like much of a chance to have a conversation with, well, let's call them the face characters. So that, in a way, makes it easy to talk to princes and princesses. If it's a face character, just let them kind of do the work, get a selfie, get a photograph, that's done. With the other characters who don't talk, I find it better because I feel like I can have fun. So you want kind of something to do to break the ice. Clothes are already a start. So if you've got a Mickey Mouse T-shirt on and you're meeting Mickey Mouse, you've already got that on there. If you've got a Mickey Mouse T-shirt on and you're meeting Donald Duck, that can be even more fun. Just find out a little bit about the characters. Have a look at what they're wearing. If you're going to meet Donald Duck over in Mexico and he's got his big sombrero hat on, ask him if it's too heavy for him, or ask him how Daisy is, or why have they not got engaged yet. Ask Mickey Mouse what his favourite kind of cheese is, or again, if he's wearing something in particular. So have a kind of a bit of an icebreaker, and then just have a little bit of fun with it. I mean, if you're doing character dining, you can talk about the food. Don't be afraid. Just because the characters can't talk to you doesn't mean you can't talk to them. Have a little bit of fun. It's a bit like charades sometimes, but yeah, have fun. Just think of a couple of icebreakers, or if in doubt, just ask for a selfie. Tell them they're looking great. Tell them that they are your favourite character, even if they're not. They'll love that. If you've got any questions, do send them over on the socials. As I say, give us a follow, and I'll try and do my trip reports next week. Time for a trip report now. Somebody who's just come back from Orlando for the first time ever and only spent one day at Disney World. Time to chat Disney World once again, or are we? Because James has just come back from his first ever trip to Walt Disney World. Quite an adventurous trip. In fact, tell me all about it, because you've been to Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
And this your first time in Orlando?
It was, yeah.
What was the thoughts behind it? What was the planning behind it?
Well, so it's somewhere that I've always wanted to do. When I was at school, senior school, there was always the Florida trip, and they stopped it when I got to senior school. So I missed out. So it's always been a bucket list thing. I've always, I love America. Like me and my wife, we got married in New York. So it was the one thing that we wanted to do. And we've got 3 kids. The one's just becoming a teenager. The other one's 8. And then we've got a 2-year-old that's just about to turn 3. So it was a case of, when do we do it if we don't do it now? So we just kind of took the plunge and we thought, yeah, let's go for it. And my wife it was never a thing that my wife wanted to do, but it was a case of, I'll go for the kids. So we kind of twisted her arm, and that was it really. That was the motivation. The reason we went when we did in February was my daughter, really, because obviously she turns 3 in April, which is obviously when the main school holidays start to kick in, when the weather's really nice. But as soon as she turns 3, you then have to start paying for everything for her. So even though she probably won't remember as much as like the boys will, there would be no difference to going in a 2 months' time than when we did. And we thought it might be a bit quieter. So that was the motivation of, let's go in February.
But as we'll find out, it might not be your only time at Disney World.
No, not now.
Where did you stay on this trip? Because you didn't actually stay at Disney, did you?
No. So when we were planning it, it was, okay, where do we go? Do we do the Disney or do we go to Universal? Now, obviously, the boys are massively into like their Marvel.
Right, okay.
So obviously, Florida-wise, that's at Universal. So we stayed at the Cabana Bay Beach Resort, which is one of the Universal hotels. And when we booked, it just so happened that if you booked a Universal holiday, you got the Universal tickets for all their 2 parks and the water park included. And we thought, that's a good deal. So at least that's something arranged. So that was the motivation behind staying there. So it was the Marvel and the fact, and we got the tickets included in the package.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? When you go into Orlando, it's really overwhelming. You've got Universal and Disney, and then you've got SeaWorld, and you go, well, we're only going for a week. How are we going to squeeze everything in? So was that why you went Universal? Probably the easiest one to manage.
I reckon I must have spent a week looking at all the different options about, okay, well, if we stay here, what tickets would we need to buy? Okay, so these tickets, you can get these tickets that cover you for 2 weeks. But then if you go and do this, you can also get tickets for that. And the one other thing that we wanted to do while we were out there was the Discovery Cove swim with dolphins.
Yeah.
Which that's owned by SeaWorld. So if you buy tickets for that, that also then gives you access to SeaWorld and also Aquatica, their water park. So it was kind of like, well, if we're only there a week, if we do that's 3 days done. So then that only leaves us with 4 days for Universal. So I think I must have spent a week at the different options. And that's why we thought, all right, if we just do Universal, that's 2 theme parks, their water park and Discovery Cove. We've got a couple of days to play with while we're there. And let's see what happens, what we get done, and what are the other options that we can do while we're there.
But you did go to Disney.
We did.
How long did you actually spend at Disney? Because if you're staying at Universal, you've got to get your Uber to get you over there. So how long were you actually in a Disney park?
So we had a day. We were tempted to do a second day, but the day that we went was our last but one day. So then if we'd have done the second day, we wouldn't have had much opportunity. And I don't think we'd have enjoyed it as much because you'd be conscious about, right, we need to get back now to get back to the airport. And also the park that we chose Hollywood Studios. So our second park would have been Magic Kingdom. And I know that because of when our flights was, we wouldn't have had the most opportunity to do everything at Magic Kingdom and seen their end of night firework display. So it's kind of like, let's not do it just because we can do it, and let's go back and enjoy that in its full, where you're not thinking about the time. So we only did 1 full day at Disney, but we literally got there from the minute it opened to they were kicking us out.
Oh, you've got to get your money's worth. What made you choose Hollywood Studios out of the parks, out of the Disney parks?
Again, so it was trying to weigh up what's the best that we could do in a day. So obviously, I think Magic Kingdom was probably our first, it's Magic Kingdom. But then when you're looking at it, and obviously the kids are different age ranges, so it was a case of, if we do Magic Kingdom, for everybody to get the most out of it, we wouldn't have really done much as a family. So I'd been off with the boys doing the roller coasters. Sarah and Lexi would have been doing like the littler rides. And I just thought, there's going to be too much to do and try and fit in. And if you go and you miss out on something, you're going to think, oh, I wish we'd have had a chance to do that. And then it's my OCD-ness is, what do you choose out of, Thunder Mountain or the Pirates of the Caribbean or the Jungle Cruise? So we chose Hollywood Studios, one, for the Toy Story element, because Toy Story is something that we all like, and especially like Lexi now, she's getting into that Toy Story element. So that was one of the reasons. Two was Aerosmith's RockNRollercoaster. It's always something that I've wanted to do, and the boys like Star Wars, so it kind of ticked everything. A lot of boxes, and we thought, do you know what? There's quite a bit we can do in a day there. It's not the biggest park, but there's enough for us all to do and to experience Disney.
Yeah. And did you buy your ticket on the day, or did you manage to get your ticket before you went? Because it's hard to buy a one-day ticket.
It is. So that was the one thing that I didn't realise that was a difficult thing until I started looking at Florida holidays, that to get a one-day ticket, it's not the most obvious choice of what you can do. So it just so happens, because obviously we got our Universal tickets included with our package, I booked Discovery Cove in a New Year's sale, and I did a Discovery Cove only ticket, and I did it through a company called Florida Tickets, who obviously are very clever at marketing and know when you've booked your tickets for. So on the week that we were in Florida, they kind of sent an email saying, oh, what else would you like to do while you're in Florida? And that's where they offered the one-day tickets at a bit of a discounted price. So it's kind of like, oh, well, it's the opportunities there now. We only want to do a day. So that's how it came about. So it's kind of like, well, we may as well.
Did you add the Genie Plus with that as well to get you all the lightning lanes? Or did you just go, there's only so many attractions, we can queue, we've got all day?
Yeah, no, we didn't. And the reason being is my eldest, he suffers with epilepsy.
Right.
So he for Universal, they have an access system which you can, if it's a queue over so long, you can go back. So we thought, well, we wonder what Disney's version of that is. So you have to apply with Disney's. It's called DAS.
The DAS Pass.
Disabled Access Service, I think it stands for. So we applied for that, but you can only apply up to 2 days before, which is why we were going to do Disney on the Thursday, but we ended up doing the Friday so we could make the most of that. So technically we didn't have to do the Genie system because we had their DAS system. So it doesn't give you an advantage as such, but obviously you can virtually queue for the time it says at the time you join the queue. Yeah. So it meant that technically if we're queuing for one ride, so for example, Hollywood Tower of Terror, we could do something with Lexi and actually join a queue. So we got the most out of, while we were joining a virtual queue for one, we could join the queue for another. So we didn't take the mick with it, but it did help the fact that actually if you're joining a virtual queue for all the big queue rides at once, you can do other things at the same time.
Yeah. James. We'll be back with James in just a moment. Let's take a quick break to have a look at some of the news stories that have come from Walt Disney World. In fact, there's only really two things I want to talk about on this episode of the podcast. The first will be the changes coming to the DAS Pass system, the Disability Access Service. Things are going to change from the 20th of May over at Walt Disney World. Also, they're going to be changing it over at Disneyland Resort as well in California. Hopefully, if you do rely on the DAS Pass, people who really genuinely do need it, hopefully things will remain the same for you. I think it's been like the demand for DAS Pass has tripled in the last couple of years, probably around the same time as Genie Plus went on sale, coincidentally. So the main thing to take from this, and which is highlighted on the Walt Disney World website, to quote, "We will be making efforts to preserve the Disability Access Service, the DAS Pass, for those it's intended to accommodate. Only those guests who, due to a developmental disability like autism or similar, are unable to wait in conventional queue for an extended period of time. To help with this, we are extending DAS enrolment for eligible guests from 60 days to 120 days and adjusting DAS party size to include no more than 4. except for immediate family members. As I say, that changes from May the 20th. If you rely on DAS Pass, hopefully, if you generally need it, hopefully things won't change for you. People have been saying as well, there's a thing on the website saying if anybody lies about the DAS Pass and tries to get on it when they shouldn't really be on it, then they will be banned for the parks forever. That's not new. That's always been there. The only other big story I want to talk about, it's on sale. Have you got your booking for next year? Yes, free dining is back. The Disney dining plan is back, and you can get it for free for bookings starting from next year. It's on sale now. I've done a little bit of research on this. So over the last few weeks, from when it was announced, I thought, we'll get a couple of quotes before and after free dining to see what changes it's come up with. So I put in a couple of weeks at Caribbean Beach. So I put this in before free dining. Same 2 weeks, same room, 2 people. I did this through the Walt Disney World website just on hotel and tickets, because to get the free dining, you have to add the Disney park tickets as well. So before free dining, the 2 weeks in Caribbean Beach in February, 5,456. Remember, you're not getting the dining in that. Now looking at it, that same 2 weeks where you get the dining included, 5,719. So to get the free dining, it was about 260 quid more. However, I had a look at another one as well. So I had a look a week in September, staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, just two adults in a room with a savannah view. I added the room, the tickets, and the dining plan. Now, before the offer, it was over £6,000. Now the offer is with the free dining is included. It was 5,100. It was about £1,000 cheaper. Of course, if you're staying at a moderate, you are just getting the quick service. If you're staying at deluxe like Animal Kingdom, you're getting the proper dining plan. It pays to do the research. But I mean, if you want to get the actual dining plan and you want a week at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it does look like it's coming in cheaper. It does look like dining plan has been thrown in for free. Interesting. Good luck with that, because I think the queues were about 3 or 4 hours yesterday when that went on sale. Any other news, actual news that comes from the parks? I think we're going to be hearing stuff about Halloween soon as well, and maybe an opening date for Tiana's. Keep following us on the socials. At Pod Magical is where we are. So did you manage to do everything at Hollywood Studios? We saw everything you wanted to do. Did you do
everything we wanted to do, except when we got there, I didn't realise that RockNRollercoaster, the Aerosmith ride, is being refurbished.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, it's been down like all spring and summer.
Yeah, so obviously I didn't look at that until we booked. So I got to see the ride. I got to see like the guitar, the track thing that I'd been seeing for ages. So we got to see it. But yeah, we got to do everything that we wanted to do.
It's an excuse to go back, I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Apparently there's talk, because I took a photo there, and the lady that was there with the merch stand said that there's possibility that they're rebranding it with a different band, but they wouldn't confirm.
There's a rumour flying around that, at one point it was going to be the Jonas Brothers, and then somebody else says, it's going to be Bon Jovi. I still think Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem from the Muppets would be a brilliant overlay for that.
The Muppets, because I forgot that Disney was associated with the Muppets now. So obviously I love the Muppets. So that was I think a hidden gem that we've forgotten about. So that was probably one of the best things, because it was, how often do you get to encounter like a real Muppet show? So that was quite a good one. And I think Toy Story Mania where you're shooting the cannons.
Did you win?
I beat me and my eldest. We're very competitive. So all those kinds of rides throughout the week, we were always competitive. And I picked him on the first one. He was winning all the way through, and I must have got him on the last part. So then we did it again. We said that would be our last ride before we saw like the end of night event. So we did it again, and I beat him. I whipped him.
Of course. Did you make it through to Fantasmic at the end then?
Yes. I think that's where Disney won us over. At first, it was kind of like, it's all right, it's good, but we weren't, there was nothing Disney that we were blown away until we saw their end of show and like the animation, the tribute to animation, and that was like, they do Disney very well.
Disney does Disney very well, that's for sure. And did you manage to eat? Well, I suppose you would have to have eaten because you were there all day. Where did you eat in Hollywood Studios?
So we to be honest, because we want to make the most out of the park and not go in, sit down and have a proper meal. During the days, we just used to snack. So I mean, the kids lived on churros for the week. And so we stopped. It was by the Pixar bit, by the Walt Disney Tribute Museum. And it was just like a little food cart. And I had a Jack from The Incredibles cookie.
Yes, they're so good.
I could have lived on that all week. It was so hot and melting. And like, I must have had chocolate around my face.
Yeah.
So we just snacked, to be honest. And stuff like that. So churros, my wife had, I think she had the nachos and cheese, and so did my eldest. And I think she lived on that all week. But yeah, the Jack's cookie was like a hidden gem. I was like, oh, that'll do. That'll sort us. And I was like, this is amazing. This is the best cookie I've ever had.
I always get one. We always try and share it, but I always end up just eating most of it. And like you say, it's because it's like that warm, and you've got those choc chips that are melted on the inside as well. Yeah. And it was just a little bit crunchy on the outside.
Yes. Yeah, because I like a melty cookie. So when I first started, I was like, oh, it's a solid cookie. But then obviously as you get in, you're like, oh, this is where the baked goodness is now.
Yeah. Now, I usually like to ask people outside Disney, what else did you do? But you've done so much. So what was it like? Did you get to swim with dolphins when you went over to Discovery Cove? What was the day like there? How was that?
Yeah, it's good. So that was the one thing that the boys really wanted to do. They're into the YouTube, so they've seen so many people do it. And obviously, when you're looking what to do in Florida, we saw about Discovery Cove, and we just thought, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that you can do. So me and the boys did it. My daughter was too young, so my wife said that she wasn't that fussed, so she'd be happy to sit it out. So we booked the dolphin swim experience, and we knew that it would be something to break up the theme park element.
Yeah.
And just have a day where you can just like rest your feet and just, have a beach day. So yeah, that was amazing. And it was just a box ticked. It's something I've always wanted to do. And just seeing the enjoyment on the boys' face do it, it was just one of the things that you think, yeah, they'll never forget that.
Yeah, it is like a private resort, isn't it?
So we knew that food and snacks was included. So we got there first, when it opened, and we knew that essentially the dolphin swim was allocated on a when you arrive basis. So we got there thinking, we might be late on the afternoon. So we did the dolphin swim quite early. So we literally had breakfast, got our place on the beach opposite one of the coves where the dolphins. So we could have sat there all day just chilling with the dolphins.
Yeah.
And yeah, so me and the boys did the dolphin swim, and then we just got to watch them swim. And they've got like a reef with stingrays and tropical fish that you can go and snorkeling, and all the equipment's provided. And it's a great day. If you can get a good price ticket, it's so worth it, because the food is amazing, endless amount of drinks, and it's just, you could be in the Caribbean.
Yes, yeah.
It's just mad.
Did you say was it like a Black Friday deal that you got them when you booked?
Yes, so I was looking at booking it at the time we booked Florida because I wanted to get it sorted. And I spoke to somebody who said, look, if you're just looking at doing Discovery Cove, wait until after Christmas and you will see all of a sudden offers appear. So it got to Black Friday and there were some deals, and I just thought, oh, do I go now? And then I thought, no, I'll wait. I kept checking the availability for the dolphin swim literally every couple of days just to make sure it wasn't running low. And then in the new year, I saw an advert for 50% off for Discovery Cove only, and I just thought, go for it.
And did you say you went over to SeaWorld as well? Was that included?
No, so we didn't. We booked literally the Discovery Cove only ticket. So we could have done SeaWorld, but if we'd have done that, we wouldn't have done Disney. So we thought, we'll just do Discovery Cove and just do Universal, and then we haven't got to worry about where we're going now. What day do we do this? But because we Universal, we'd had 3 days there where we'd done both the parks. We'd done a day at the water park. We thought we could do another day, but we've got a pretty much full day there Saturday. So why don't we do something else? And that's why we chose the Disney then, because, you're in Florida. You can say, you're that close to Disney.
You've got to go and see Mickey Mouse.
Exactly.
And at Universal, what were your favourite attractions there? What did you enjoy most?
The Harry Potter world in both parks is breathtaking. We're not massive Harry Potter fans. We like the films, we understand it, but we're not, cult followers. but the way they've set it up there, that's their Disney castle. That's their big thing. Yeah. And when you're in the queue to go to the parks and you're seeing everybody in the capes with the wands and, you know, dressed up as characters and, you know, in tears, ready to see this ride, you know, that's when you think, yeah, it is pretty cool. And when you walk up and you see the castle that they've done, it is pretty much like, wow, how have they done that? So I'd say Harry Potter and Hagrid's bike ride was quite good. The Simpsons, for the, you know, just because it's the Simpsons and, you know, it's been there years and you can just say, wow, we're in the Simpsons land now. That was pretty cool. And probably Jurassic World roller coaster, that was quite good.
Did you do all the water rides? Because some of the water rides at Universal, you get drenched. Like,
yeah, we did. Yeah, is it the Woody Woodpecker log flume? That was.
Yeah, I know which one.
I can't think what it is, but that was surprising because I just thought it was a one, you know, drop log flume thing. So when you're on it and then all of a sudden it goes dark and then you just drop, that took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting it. So that was
Dudley Do Right. Is it Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw?
That's it. That's the one. And then there's the Jurassic Park water ride as well, where like the dinosaurs come out of the water and it does the gates and welcome to Jurassic Park and the music. And that was it. We wasn't expecting that to be as good as it was. So it's things like that that you do that you think, wow, that was really good actually. The boys' favourite was the Jimmy Fallon 3D ride.
Oh, right.
They had no clue who Jimmy Fallon was. Me and my wife did, because when we got married in New York, we got offered tickets to see his TV show be recorded. And we were like, no, we're not that fussed. And it was always one of those things that, we wish we'd have done now.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was probably their favourite. And the Minions shooting one, which is the Villain Blast.
Yes. Now that is like kind of, you're on like... It's like a moving platform, isn't it? Yeah, on a conveyor belt.
We didn't realise it was quite new. So, like, people were saying, like, this is the best thing about Universal Studios now because it's new. So, like, you take things for granted when you haven't been because you don't know what's new and what's been there for so long. A bit as same with Disney. People had been to Hollywood Studios years, but they'd never been since it was Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing like how people who'd been before, their reaction to doing the new stuff. But yeah, Villain Blast, you're on like a conveyor belt and there's like screens that like floor to ceiling all around and like you basically turn around and like shooting the villains. But I didn't know because I got thinking it was Villain Blast, I thought you had to shoot the Minions. So I think on the third go that we did it, I was like, well, why am I not getting a good score here? And then I finally looked at what you should do. I was like, you don't shoot the Minions.
No.
And so I was just like, well, that's just like a conflict of the title. So then when I realised that who you need to shoot and what you need to shoot, I was a lot better the last time.
Yeah.
It fed my ego a bit more. I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as the Toy Story one, though.
No, the Toy Story one was definitely my favourite of that. But what catches you off with the Toy Story is because the cart spins, you don't know where you're going to aim until you're ready. So it kind of takes you off guard. Whereas the menu one, you kind of can see ahead what's coming up and where you need to shoot. So the Toy Story one was definitely the better one for shooting. Followed by, I'd say, Men in Black at Universal. That one was quite good as well. That was a bit similar to the Toy Story one, but it's of its time. Toy Story is very more a modern version of that kind of game and ride.
Yeah, I still like the Men in Black one, though. I like seeing like.
Yeah, it is quite good. But again, so the boys had never seen Men in Black, and I'm like, what? So like all the way through that we were doing Disney, we saw the Indiana Jones stunt show. They were like, what's Indiana Jones? I'm like, right. So all this holiday's done is created I need to educate my kids in movies list.
And you were there for Mardi Gras as well. Did you get to go to any of the concerts that Universal had for Mardi Gras?
So we arrived on the Saturday, and it was a case of like, we checked in. We need to go and explore. I'm not a person that doesn't want to waste time, especially on that kind of holiday. No. We've got a week. We've got to make the most. So we caught the shuttle to City Walk, which is like Universal's open space with all the shops and places to food. So we went and had a look. We'd already got our tickets, so we were like, oh, let's go and have a look at one park. And we think, let's choose one park we can go to tomorrow. So we just so happened to choose Universal Studios, and the guy was like, are you going to the concert? And we're like, what concert? And they're like, oh, All American Rejects are on in about 5 minutes. So me and my wife was like, what? Kids had like no idea.
Again, no idea.
And we're like, this is for us now. You just enjoy just being in Florida, but me and your mum are going to relive our teenage years. So that was amazing, because it was just like so unexpected and such a good atmosphere. And it was like in their central park area bit.
Yeah. How busy was it? Because I often wonder, like, if you get somebody like that in a theme park where, it's included in your admission price, how busy does it get?
Because we hadn't specifically looked for it. So my wife knew that it was Mardi Gras and they'd got events going on at that point. So we knew that their parade was based around Mardi Gras and some of the decorations. But we hadn't overly seen that this was going to happen. So it was like an unexpected surprise. And it was busy on that night. And I suppose when you've had a long flight, you are a bit tired. So it was kind of like, oh, it's busy. But we kind of just thought, we went with the flow and just thought, wow, what an unexpected surprise. But then on the day, it was very chilled. And, even though you're at a theme park, it's busy. We couldn't get over how different like the parks are in Florida to like this country. It's so chilled. Everybody can do something. There's always places to look at, even if you're not interested in rides. And like now, since we've come back, we've seen things that we missed, and all it's done is like, well, we just need to go back then, don't we? We can't miss out.
Yeah. And what was it like being there? Because the Super Bowl was on. It was Superbowl Sunday when you were there. So did you watch the Super Bowl, or did you go to the parks because you thought everybody else might be watching the football on TV?
No. So ironically, this year we have got into American football as a family just by pure chance. Now, if you ask my wife, she says it's because it's Taylor Swift and she keeps calling me a Swiftie. So I was like, no, it is not because of that. I actually enjoy it. So we have followed this American football season anyway, and then when we worked out a few weeks before we went that we were like, we're in America for the Super Bowl final, and it was kind of like, wow.
Yeah. So
we were like, this is going to be amazing, because we know how big it is in America. And on the day, so on Super Bowl Sunday, we did Islands of Adventure. No, sorry, we did Universal Studios because it was our first full day at the park. So we could see everybody, and some people had got San Francisco 49er shirts. Some people had got Kansas City Chiefs. There were the Taylor Swift version. There was a group of girls called Taylor version. We were tempted to go to the NBC Big Sports Bar to watch it. The only thing we thought was, after a first full day at the park, are we going to really want to be out all night? And we weren't sure how long the game would go on. So we had a full day at the park, soaked up the atmosphere, and then we went back to the hotel. We went to the diner, got some like American food, and just chilled and watched it and just soaked up the atmosphere in the hotel. But it was amazing to see. And then obviously the next day, how everybody was talking about it. And because it was such a good game and it went to extra time, it was such a talking point the next day. So it was amazing to be there, and just like what a bonus.
Getting the best of both worlds. Because I often wonder, like, when the game's on, like, are the parks really quiet? Do people just...
I think they were and they weren't, because obviously there's still a lot of people that aren't interested in it. And especially because it was like half term, there was still a lot of tourists from other countries there who weren't bothered. So I think it was still as busy, but obviously it was just an added bonus that you could be there for that atmosphere.
So are you going to be going back then? Are you thinking about going back to Orlando? I know you've only just come back, but are you thinking about doing it again? Well,
it was, we always said we can say we've been now, but then it was a case of, but we could do Magic Kingdom. And then it's kind of like, but wouldn't it be good if we could do that again? And, if we came back again, we could do this and maybe go there. So, we'll definitely be going back again. Even my wife, it was my wife, the person that was like, I'm not bothered about Florida. And the day that we went back to work, I was like, this day last week we were doing this. I'm like, thanks. But so even she wants to go back and just say it was a world-class holiday that it won her over.
Would you stay at Universal again, or would you stay at Disney, or would you do a bit of both?
I said now that it'd be interesting to do the Disney side of it and seeing how that works. What we couldn't get over was the size of Disney. Like when we got an Uber from our hotel to Disney, because it was about 20 minutes, and the Uber driver said, you're going to want to get your camera out for this bit, and we said okay, and it was that welcome to Disney, and you know, the thing that you'd seen so many times, and it was like, wow, we're here. And then you're driving around for quite a while and you think, this is still Disney. And then you think, oh, they've got that water park, and oh, they've got that water park, and it's just like, so we could do a Disney holiday, but also not have, you know, not to do everything, but we could experience the Disney side and compare it to Universal. So I think if we were going to do it, I think we'd probably do Disney or stay outside of a resort and then think about, okay, what do we want to do on certain days and go into the parks a bit like we did for Disney and for Discovery Cove.
Well, if you need any help planning, we've got lots of podcasts. We're all here. Yeah. Any questions, fire them over our way. Good to chat to you, though, because we've not spoken to anybody who's been during Super Bowl and Mardi Gras and done the Disney that way. So, really interesting. Thanks for chatting, James, and have a magical day.
Brilliant, and you.
A follow on the socials. As I say, I'm going to be heading out there next weekend for a couple of weeks. I'll try and update, especially Instagram, as much as I can. At Pod Magical is where we are. Give us a like, give us a follow. Share your pictures. Tag us in there as well. If you want to get involved in the podcast, whether you got any tips, whether you want to be a guest or you got any questions, you can send them over there. The direct messages are always open as well. So if you are going to be going to Walt Disney World this weekend or over the next couple of weeks, well, this weekend is going to be particularly busy. We've got another Run Disney event this weekend. It's the springtime event, so crowds are going to be particularly high this weekend, and then down to usual moderate and then busy at weekends over the next few weeks. We've also got Earth Day to look forward to on the 22nd, so Animal Kingdom probably heavier than usual on that particular day. Weather-wise, we're looking at the high 20s, low 30s now with those afternoon thunderstorms creeping in. Price of Genie Plus, if you're getting that, it has been up to like $39 over the last few weekends. I think during the week it's averaging, I'm looking at the multi-park tickets now, around $27, $28. I've got a top tip, by the way, about Genie Plus, which I'll come back to in a minute. Pound to dollar has dipped a little bit. We're looking at about 1.25 on the pound to dollar. We still have the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival running at the minute with the Garden Rocks concert series this weekend. Plain White Tees. Next weekend, Starship are going to be on, followed by Herman's Hermits, Peter Noon and Herman's Hermits. And the Seven Seas Food Festival continues as well. If you're going over to SeaWorld this weekend, they have Gavin DeGraw with Ludacris next weekend. And the top tip for this episode is all about Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is getting more and more expensive, especially people are going to be looking at it now. They've relied more on DAS Pass over the last few years and they can't qualify for that anymore. So people are going to be looking to Genie Plus. Here is a top tip. The price for Genie Plus varies on park to park. Usually Animal Kingdom is the cheapest one. You can also get a multi-park Genie Plus. The price of the multi-park Genie Plus is always the same price as the Magic Kingdom only Genie Plus. So here's one thing saying, if you're going to Magic Kingdom and you want Genie Plus, don't just automatically think, oh, we'll get the Magic Kingdom Genie Plus. Get the multi-park Genie Plus because you can use it all day in Magic Kingdom. But if you do, by any chance, decide to park hop, you can take it with you and it's always the same price. So top tip for this episode, if you're going to Magic Kingdom and you're going to get Genie Plus, don't get the Magic Kingdom only Genie Plus. Get the multi-park Genie Plus. Always the same price, unless, of course, it's sold out. Then you're out of luck. Any top tips? Send them over my way. As I say, I'm going to be going to Walt Disney World in a week's time if you're listening to this on the day of release. So I'll try and update as much as possible. If you're going to be there, let me know. Do tag us, do follow us, do like, do subscribe to the podcast as well. There will be a new podcast out in a couple of weeks' time. So you won't have things like the news updates and stuff because I'm going to be here to do that. I'm going to be having fun over at Walt Disney World. But do subscribe and it'll be with you in a couple of weeks. And until then, please stand clear of the doors.